And now I give the floor to His Excellency, Mr. Charles Michel, President of the European Council.
Thank you, Mr. President. And first of all, let me thank you for organizing this meeting and for giving me the occasion to take the floor. Ladies and gentlemen, I was born in Belgium in the 70s. At school, we studied the great European artists, names like Victor Hugo, Da Vinci, Shakespeare, Picasso, Goethe. But we also studied masterpieces by names like Dostoevsky, Kandinsky, Tchaikovsky, Tolstoy, and others. Great Russian artists from Russia's great culture, they have influenced and inspired my own education. But today, Russia's savagery stands in stark contrast to the heritage of these brilliant artists. A few months ago, I was in Borodianka, where atrocities were committed by Russian soldiers, war crimes, crimes against humanity. These crimes must be and will be punished. To hold accountable those responsible, we need evidence, and that's why we are now helping to collect the evidence of these crimes. Impunity is not an option. And we welcome the International Court of Justice provisional measures ordering Russia to suspend military operations immediately. We fully support the investigation of the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court and the work of the Independent Commission of Inquiry. And the European Union is assisting the Ukrainian Prosecutor General and civil society to collect the evidence of war crimes. Ladies and gentlemen, women, peace, security. This is a critical and timely subject. 2 years ago, Secretary General Guterres called to end violence, both on the battlefield and in homes. Yet as we speak, we hear reports of Russian forces wielding sexual violence as a weapon of war. Sexual violence is a war crime, a crime against humanity, a tactic of torture, terror, and repression. Shameful acts in a shameful war. And this must be exposed to the light of day and prosecuted without impunity. This war has also caused millions to flee their homes and seek refuge outside Ukraine, mostly women and children. I met many of them when I went in Ukraine, when I went in Poland, when I went in Moldova. And they are particularly vulnerable to human traffickers. We, the EU, are committed to protecting them, to keeping them safe, without any discrimination. I listened carefully to what has been said by some of you around that table. We intend to provide education, health, and access to the labor market. And we are also working to eradicate trafficking, to protect people fleeing the war. Sadly, sexual and gender-based violence is a global threat, used as a weapon of war and faced by women and girls across the world. Afghanistan, Ethiopia, Democratic Republic of Congo, Central African Republic, Myanmar, South Sudan, Yemen, and other countries. And that's why we will host, together with UN Women, Dr. Mukwege Foundation and Nadia's initiative, a Southern Conference on Women in Conflict in just a few days in Brussels. I sincerely hope we can build momentum and step up our collective efforts to seriously address this critical issue. Mr. Ambassador of the Russian Federation, let's be honest. The Kremlin is using food supplies as a stealth missile against developing countries. The dramatic consequences of Russia's war are spilling over across the globe, and this is driving up food prices, pushing people into poverty, and destabilizing entire regions. And Russia is solely responsible for this food crisis, Russia alone, despite the Kremlin's campaign of lies and disinformation. I've seen it with my own eyes a few weeks ago in Odessa. Millions of tons of grain and wheat stuck in containers and ships because of Russian warships in the Black Sea and because of Russia's attack on transport infrastructure. And it is Russian tanks, Russian bombs and mines that are preventing Ukraine from planting and harvesting. The Kremlin is also targeting grain storages and stealing grain in Ukraine while shifting the blame on others. This is cowardly, this is propaganda, pure and simple propaganda. Let's get to the facts. The EU has no sanctions on the agricultural sector in Russia, zero. And even our sanctions on the Russian transport sector do not go beyond our EU borders. You may leave the room. Maybe it's easier not to listen to the truth, the ambassador. They do not prevent Russian flagged vessels, our sanctions, from carrying grain, food, or fertilizers to developing countries. The EU, on the contrary, is doing all we can to help Ukraine's agricultural exports and to support Ukraine's agricultural sector for the coming season. Ladies and gentlemen, global food security is a top priority for the EU, and we will do everything we can to help solve this challenge and to help the developing countries. And to do this, we need to unlock the Black Sea, and we fully support Secretary General Guterres' efforts to find solutions to reopen maritime routes for Ukraine's exports. We'll actively contribute to the work of the Global Crisis Response Group and will cooperate with the G7 and with the African Union. Ladies and gentlemen, the Kremlin may prohibit and prosecute the use of the word war, but that does not change the heartbreaking reality. Thousands of dead Ukrainian women, children, and men, atrocities, rapes, countless Ukrainian cities bombed into rubble. This is a war, a barbaric war, waged by a permanent member of this council. Mr. Ambassador of Ukraine, we will continue to back Ukraine. We'll continue to support your country and your people, and will continue to pressure Russia and to confront Russia with the truth. Russia is attacking one country, one people, Ukraine. But Russia is also attacking the values and principles of this House: human dignity, tolerance, multilateral cooperation, and international law. These are our shared values, the bedrock of this House. So this is more than a war against one nation. It is a war against all that we have built over generations since World War II. The EU's commitment to the UN Charter is unwavering. The EU is a reliable, loyal, and respectful partner, and will continue to cooperate on the global stage to build a safer, freer, and more prosperous world. I thank you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Michel for his statement.